Greetings, my dear viewer. This is a channel about marital infidelity and about the consequences if one spouse starts to cheat on the other. If you, as well as I do, support true family values and condemn cheating, then subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Let's get started. The soft sound of water lapping against the side of our small boat created a soothing melody, occasionally interrupted by the splash of a fish jumping out of the water. I took a deep breath, enjoying the fresh Montana air as the first rays of dawn broke over the distant peaks. The annual fishing trip with Tyler was not just a chore, it was a refuge, a momentary escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Are you just going to sit and daydream all day, or are you really going to catch something? Tyler said, and his gruff voice brought me back to reality. I laughed and reached for my fishing rod, enjoying the moment. Emily often tells me that I come back from these trips a different person. Tyler rolled his eyes, but I noticed a subtle smile appear on his face. Of course we understand. You and Emily are the perfect couple. Not everyone is so lucky, he replied, his flippant tone barely hiding the bitterness underneath. I felt a pang of guilt remembering Tyler's recent breakup. Hey, I'm really sorry about what happened to you and Sarah. How are you doing? I asked. Tyler shrugged, concentrating on attaching the hook. It is what it is. You can't force someone to stay if they don't want to, right? Tyler said. I agreed, nodding. As I cast the line into the calm waters, I felt complete peace. We fell into a familiar silence, the rhythmic casting and reeling becoming a calming ritual, honed over years of friendship. The morning continued as we shared stories, and our laughter echoed across the lake. Remember that moment in school when you tried to ask Melissa Jenkins to prom? Tyler said and chuckled, his eyes sparkling with mischief. I sighed, feeling my cheeks flush despite how much time had passed. Don't remember that. I tripped over my own feet and fell on my face right in front of her, I remembered. And then you just muttered something about the floor being good and stayed there, Tyler said, and burst into laughter, almost losing his grip on his fishing rod. Yes, I remember, I muttered under my breath. Come on, laugh. At least I didn't go alone like some people I know, I said with feigned offense. Tyler pretended to be shocked, clutching his chest. Hey, I had a great time alone, thank you very much. No drama, no expectations, just me and the bowl of punch, he said. When the laughter died down, a comfortable silence enveloped us. I looked at the sun's reflections on the water, filled with a deep sense of peace. You know, Ty, I'm very glad that we still find time for this. Between work, family, and everything else, it's so nice to just be together, I said warmly. Tyler nodded, a hint of warmth appearing on his face. Yeah, I feel the same way, man. But honestly, all this talk about your perfect life with Emily makes me feel like the third wheel on our own fishing trip, he said. I laughed and shook my head. Come on, she's not perfect. We definitely have our ups and downs, I replied. Tyler raised an eyebrow, a playful challenge in his tone. Is it true? Name one thing that doesn't work in heaven, he asked. I thought for a moment, my thoughts racing. She periodically leaves her hair in the shower drain, which drives me crazy, I said. Tyler looked at me for a second before bursting into laughter. And it's all? Hair in the drain? You make it easy, dude, he said. I shrugged, a warmth spreading in my chest as I remembered Emily. What can I say? I hit the jackpot, I replied. Throughout the day, we reflected on the past and discussed our aspirations for the future. Tyler mentioned his plans to expand his auto repair shop, and I shared my vision for furniture that I would like to have custom made. You know, Tyler said, opening his beer as the sun began to set, I may tease you about your perfect life, but I'm truly happy for you, Derek. For real. I smiled, touched by the sincerity in his voice. Thank you, friend. And don't worry, you'll find someone too. Sarah wasn't the right one, but the right person is out there, I said. Tyler nodded and took a long sip of his beer. Yes, maybe. For now, I'm going to focus on myself, you know. No drama, no complications, he replied. As we sat in our cozy bubble, little did I know that complications were lurking just around the corner. The calm surface of the lake hid the impending storm that loomed over my life, ready to sweep away everything I held dear. Tyler and I relaxed on chairs by the fire, sipping beer and enjoying the silence that only years of friendship can create. The day's fishing had been fruitful, with our fridge stocked with trout that promised a delicious meal when we got home. Home. Just the thought of it made me smile. While I cherished my adventures with Tyler, there was always a part of me that longed to return to Emily and the life we had created together. Suddenly, the buzz of my phone interrupted the calm of the evening. I took it out of my pocket and frowned when I saw the unfamiliar number. "What's happening?" Tyler noticed my expression and asked, "What happened?" I looked at my phone and replied, "This is a message from Mrs. Harper, our neighbor." I frowned when I read her message. She mentioned that she had something important to tell me. I hurriedly typed a response, asking what was going on. The answer came almost instantly, and as I read it, a chill settled in my stomach. "Derek?" Tyler's voice seemed distant. "What's the matter, boy?" he asked. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Tyler said. I took a deep breath, trying to comprehend what I had just read. "Probably nothing wrong. Mrs. Harper mentioned that she had noticed a black car parked outside our house several times lately, and that a man she didn't recognize came by when I wasn't home," I said. Tyler let out a soft whistle. "Wow, that's something. What do you think that means?" Tyler asked. I shook my head, trying to get rid of the anxious feeling that settled in my soul. "Probably nothing. Maybe it's just Emily's new friend or someone from work," I guessed. "Or maybe Emily has a young lover hidden away," Tyler said. This remark hit me like a punch to the stomach. I realized that he was just joking, that his restraint had weakened because of the drink, but the thought was already stuck in my head. I managed to giggle, trying to keep my mood light. "Right? Because every guy wants to come home and find his wife with the pool boy," I said. "You never know." Tyler shrugged, his speech a little slurred. "It's always the ones you least expect, right? The ideal couples are the ones everyone envy," he said. I suddenly stood up, almost knocking over my chair. "I need to take a walk. Clear your head," I said. Tyler looked at me and his playful expression turned to concern. "Hey man, I was just kidding. You know Emily would never—" I cut him off, my tone harsher than intended. "I know. I just need fresh air," I said. I walked in the shadows, the light of my flashlight flickering ahead of me as I moved along the shore of the lake. The previous calm of the evening disappeared, replaced by a nagging anxiety that I could not get rid of. Emily will never betray me. I believed it with every fiber of my being. We had a good life together, a strong marriage. She loved me as much as I loved her. But doubts took root, and no matter how hard I tried, I could not get rid of them. I lost track of time as I walked, endless possibilities racing through my mind, each more incredible than the last. By the time I got back to the campsite, I had managed to convince myself that I was talking nonsense. There must have been a completely innocent reason behind Mrs. Harper's comments. When I returned, Tyler was still awake, but tending to the dying fire. He looked up as I approached, and his face showed a mixture of guilt and concern. "Look, Derek, I'm really sorry for what I said earlier. I crossed the line," he said. I brushed off his apology and returned to my chair. "It's okay, Ty. You were just joking," I said. He shook his head. "Still, I shouldn't have said that. I understand how important Emily is to you," Tyler said. I nodded, looking at the smoldering coals. "I think we should go back early to check things out, you know?" I said. Tyler was silent for a moment before he finally agreed. "Certainly. If that's what you want, we can get together in the morning," he replied. I appreciated his support, feeling a mixture of relief and concern about the decision. "I'm sure it's nothing, but—" I began, and Tyler finished for me. "But you need to know for sure. I get it, man. And don't worry. I've got your back no matter what. When we settled in for the night, I lay awake in my sleeping bag, my thoughts racing. Mrs. Harper's words and Tyler's bad joke echoed in my head. I kept telling myself that I was overreacting and that I could laugh about the whole situation when I got home and saw Emily. And yet, when I finally began to fall asleep, a nagging voice in the back of my head warned me that things would never be the same. The first rays of dawn were just beginning to color the sky when Tyler and I began dismantling our campsite, working in near silence. The frivolous conversations that usually accompanied our trips were replaced by tense anticipation that felt like a brewing storm. As I rolled up my sleeping bag, increasingly wild scenarios flashed through my head. I tried to concentrate on what I was doing, but my thoughts kept returning to Emily, the mysterious black car, and the stranger Mrs. Harper had spotted. "Are you ready to hit the road?" Tyler's voice brought me out of my thoughts. I looked up and saw him standing next to our assembled truck with the keys in his hands. I nodded, throwing my backpack over my shoulder. "Yes, let's go," I said. The trip home was completely different from our usual trips. Instead of reminiscing about favorite moments at the lake or dreaming about the next adventure, a heavy silence fell over the car. I looked out the window, admiring the Montana landscape, my stomach churning with anxiety and anticipation. After about an hour, Tyler broke the silence. "So, you want to talk about it?" he asked. I turned to face him, raised an eyebrow, and asked, "About what?" He shrugged, his eyes glued to the road. "Well, about the reason why we come back early. Mysterious visitor, Emily," he said. A wave of irritation washed over me. "There's nothing to discuss. We'll just look at things and that's it. Right?" I said. Tyler nodded, but I sensed uncertainty in his tone. "And you don't care what we might find when we arrive?" he asked. "Of course I'm worried," I replied in irritation. I felt that my self-control was completely leaving me. "What am I supposed to think? My neighbor casually mentions that a stranger came to see my wife while I'm away, and my best friend jokes about her cheating. It's hard to find peace of mind in a situation like that," I said. Tyler winced. "I'm very sorry that this happened." "I was drunk and not thinking straight," Tyler apologized. I sighed. "I get it. I know. It's not because of you. Emily and I have always had a strong connection, The thought of her being unfaithful was too much for me to bear," I said apologetically. "Hey, we can't jump to conclusions," Tyler said, his voice softening. "For all we know, it could just be a big mess. Maybe she's planning a surprise party or something," he suggested. I laughed dryly. "Of course, because this is much more plausible than the fact that my wife is unfaithful," I replied. "Listen, Derek," Tyler said, gripping the steering wheel tighter. "I know things don't look easy right now, but don't rush to conclusions. You and Emily have something good together. It's not worth risking it because of some vague doubts," he said. His attempt to calm me down only increased the anger building inside me. "And what? Should I just ignore it, pretending that everything is fine?" I answered. "That's not what I'm talking about," Tyler countered. "I think you should talk to Emily before you make any big decisions. Try to hear her point of view," Tyler said. I rolled my eyes. "Of course, if she's cheating, she'll just admit it if I ask her politely," I said sarcastically. Tyler gave me a worried look. "That's not like you, Derek. What happened to the guy who always saw the good in others? The one who trusted his wife?" Tyler asked, puzzled. His words struck a nerve, and a wave of shame washed over me. He was right. This was not my usual look. Fear and doubt settled within me, distorting my thoughts so that I could not understand them. I quietly admitted, "I don't know. I'm not sure who I am at the moment." We fell back into silence and the miles passed as the sun rose higher. My mind was racing, imagining all the possible situations that awaited us upon returning home. As we approached our town, Tyler broke the silence. "So, what's the plan?" he asked. "Do you want me to come with you?" Tyler asked. I hesitated for a moment. Part of me wanted to deal with this myself, to talk to Emily alone if there was anything to discuss. But the other part, the part that felt anxious and insecure, wished my best friend was there with me. Okay, I finally answered. Yes, I think I would like you to come with me. Just in case, I said. Tyler nodded, his face showing seriousness and determination. Fine. Whatever happens, we will get through it together, he said. When we reached my street, I felt my heart begin to pound. With every house we moved closer to a moment that could change everything I thought I understood about my life. There, I said, pointing. That black car. I've never seen her before. Sure enough, a sleek black sedan was parked a few doors down from our house. The car could have belonged to anyone and been parked for any number of reasons, but at that moment it seemed like a sign of impending trouble. Tyler parked in front of our house and turned off the engine. For an eternity we sat in silence, looking at the once familiar facade that now seemed strange and threatening. Are you ready for this? Tyler asked, his tone low and serious. I took a deep breath, preparing myself for what was to come. Let's go, I said firmly. I had to find out the truth. As we got out of the truck and headed toward the house, I felt like I was caught in a whirlwind. I knew that whatever happened next would change my life forever. The calm has passed. It's time to face the storm. My heart was pounding in my chest as I inserted the spare key into the lock. Tyler stood behind me, his presence calming and alarming. When we entered the house, it became alarmingly quiet. Our footsteps were muffled by the thick carpet beneath us. Emily? I called, my voice sounding too loud in the silence. There was no answer. Tyler nudged me and gestured towards the living room, where soft light was shining through the slightly open door. As we approached, I caught a whisper and the unmistakable sound of a kiss. A chill ran through my body. This can't be true. This must be a mistake or confusion. But as soon as I opened the door, the reality that opened before me destroyed all remnants of hope. Emily sat on our couch, tightly hugged with a stranger. They were so caught up in their moment that they didn't notice us right away. I froze, unable to comprehend what was happening. Tyler, on the other hand, quickly pulled himself together. He took out his phone and began recording, expressing grim determination. The slightest movement finally caught Emily's attention. Emily looked up, her expression quickly changing from passion to shock to horror. "Derek!" she said breathlessly, pushing the man away and hastily trying to cover herself. "Oh God, Derek!" Emily cried. The man turned, his eyes widening as he realized what was happening. He was older than I thought, probably about 40, with salt and pepper hair and a gleaming watch on his wrist. "Who the hell are you?" I growled, finally managing to speak. The man stood up, straightening his disheveled shirt. "I'm Bradley Turner. Believe me, nothing is as it seems," he said quickly. I let out a bitter laugh. "Really? Because it looks like you're having an affair with my wife right here in my own home," I said sarcastically. Emily was in tears, mascara running down her face. "Derek, please just listen to me," Emily said. "What is it you want to tell me, Emily?" I snapped, my shock quickly turning into rage. "From my point of view, everything seems completely obvious," I muttered through clenched teeth. Bradley stepped closer and raised his hands in a placating gesture. "Let's calm down and discuss this like adults," he said. This remark was a mistake. In 2 steps I found myself on the other side of the room, grabbed him by the collar and pressed him against the wall. "Discuss what? How did you secretly meet with my wife? How did you decide that you could waltz into my house?" I asked menacingly. "Derek, stop!" Emily shouted, pulling my arm. "Please, you're hurting him!" Emily screamed. I let go of Bradley and turned to Emily. The woman I loved, whom I thought I knew, now seemed a complete stranger to me. "What about the fact that you're hurting me, Emily? Did you think about that when you let that man into our bed?" I asked. "It wasn't like that. It just happened that way. I didn't mean to," Emily said, stuttering. "What? Get caught? I interrupted. How long has this been going on, Emily? How long have you been deceiving me? I asked. Before she could respond, a loud knock sounded behind me. We all turned around and saw that Tyler's phone had fallen to the floor and the recording had stopped. Bradley's eyes widened in alarm. You? Did you record us? You can't do this. I will sue for invasion of privacy, he shouted. Tyler let out a scornful laugh. Good luck, guy. I'm sure breaking and entering overshadows any privacy issues, Tyler said. Breaking and entering? Stuttered Bradley. It wasn't me who made the invitation. This is my home and you are trespassing, I growled. Emily stepped towards me, her tear-stained face determined. Derek, please, can we talk about this in private? She asked. I looked at her, at the woman who had once been everything to me, but now all I felt was cold, hard anger. There's nothing to discuss here, Emily. You made your choice, and now you have to deal with the consequences, I said coldly, and turned my gaze to Tyler. Help me drive this unwanted presence out of my home, I asked my friend. Together we grabbed Bradley, who began to protest loudly. You can't do this! I have rights! Emily, support me! He shouted. But Emily just stood there, wide-eyed and in tears, and watched as we dragged her lover to the front door and unceremoniously pushed him out onto the porch. If I ever see you near my house or my wife again, I growled, you will regret the day you were born. Do you understand? Bradley nodded vigorously, jumped to his feet and rushed to his car. As he sped away, I turned toward the house, preparing to confront the remnants of my broken marriage. The front door slammed shut behind me, echoing through the house as I walked inside, Tyler hot on my tail. In the living room, Emily stood with her arms wrapped around herself, looking small and fragile. For a fleeting moment, I felt sympathy for her. Almost. Derek, please, she began, her voice shaking. I know you're angry, but if you could let me, she said with a tremble in her voice. What, Emily? I interrupted her. My voice cut through the air, making her flinch. You lied to me. You made a fool of me, I said. Emily shook her head in panic. It's not what you think. Bradley, he understands me in a way you can't, she said. I finished her thought with a bitter, harsh laugh. So that's your excuse? That I don't understand you? I asked. Emily turned her gaze to Tyler, who stood silently at the door. Do we really have to do this when he's here? She asked. Yes, definitely, I replied sharply. Tyler is my best friend. He has shown me more devotion in the last few hours than you have in our entire marriage, I said. Tyler moved away awkwardly. Maybe I should go out and leave you alone, he suggested. No, I said firmly. You will stay. I need a witness, I added. Emily's expression faltered. Witness? Derek, what are you talking about? She asked. I took a step closer to her. My voice was low and menacing. It's over, Emily. We're done. I want you to leave this house by evening, I said quietly. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Leave? But where should I go? She asked. I answered icily. I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. Maybe your boyfriend Bradley has a spare room, or maybe you can spend the night with one of your friends, the ones you've most likely been lying to about us for months. It just started a few weeks ago. I swear, Derek, I never wanted this to happen. It was a mistake, Emily said. I laughed bitterly. Error? A mistake is forgetting to buy milk at the store. It was a decision, Emily. The decision you made every time you let him touch you. Every time you lied to me, I said. She reached out, trying to take my hand, but I pulled away as if her touch was burning. Please, Derek. I love you, she whispered. We can get through this together. Let's see a psychologist and work on rebuilding our trust. Please don't let everything we've built slip away, she said tearfully. For a brief moment, I was almost jarred by the pain in her eyes and the desperation in her voice. It was all too familiar. She was the woman I loved for so long, the one I built my life around. But then I remembered the scene I had stumbled upon, and my resolve strengthened. We have nothing left, Emily, I replied. My voice was cold and unwavering. You threw all that away the moment you decided to betray me, I said. Tyler cleared his throat. Derek? What about the video? He asked. Emily raised her head. Video? Which video? Emily asked in confusion. I smiled, although I lacked real warmth. Oh, didn't I mention? Tyler recorded your little meeting with Bradley. So, if you're going to try to take everything from me in a divorce, you should reconsider, I replied sarcastically. The color drained from Emily's face. You wouldn't do that. Derek, please think about what this could mean for my career, my reputation, she said in horror. You should have thought about that before bringing another man into our house, I snapped. Now pack your things and leave. You have 1 hour, I added. Emily froze, tears streaming down her cheeks. Derek, she began, but I interrupted her. I don't want to hear any more excuses or apologies. Just go away, I said. When she left the room crying, an unexpected calm came over me. The anger still raged inside me, fierce and strong, but underneath it lay a strong resolve. Emily betrayed me, ruining the life we created together. Now it's time for me to turn the tide and destroy it. I glanced at Tyler, who was watching me with a mixture of concern and admiration. Do you still have that video? I asked. He nodded and picked up his phone. Yeah, dude. What do you want to do with it? He asked. A smile appeared on my face, in which there was a hint of something sinister. I want to make them pay, tie them both up. I want them to regret crossing my path, I said. Tyler's eyes widened a little, but he nodded in agreement. Okay, man. Whatever you need, I'm in, Tyler said. As we stood and considered our next steps, I heard Emily go upstairs, collecting her things. The sounds of her sobs reached us, but I felt nothing. The Emily I once cherished was no longer there, replaced by a stranger who had betrayed me in the worst way imaginable. I was determined to make her answer for this. The front door slammed shut with a sense of finality that echoed throughout the empty house. Emily left, taking with her a suitcase full of clothes and leaving behind the fragments of our marriage. I stood in the living room, frozen in the spot on the sofa where I had found her and Bradley, filled with an incomprehensible mixture of numbness and rage. Tyler came closer and put his hand on my shoulder. Are you okay? He asked. I shook my head, unable to find words. The events of the last few hours replayed in my head, fueling my growing anger. What do you want to do now? Tyler asked, his tone serious. I turned to meet his gaze and clenched my jaw in determination. Now? Now we will make them pay, I said. Tyler nodded, thoughtful. Fine, but how? He asked. I went to the liquor cabinet and took out a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. As I began pouring, I laid out my strategy. The first thing on the agenda is protecting the video. This is our trump card, I said. Already taken care of, Tyler replied, holding out the phone. I saved it in the cloud and emailed myself a copy. Now they won't be able to erase it, he said. I handed him the glass and raised it solemnly. Okay, now to us. We need to dig deeper into this Bradley, I said. Tyler took a sip of his whiskey, wincing at the burning sensation. I can do some research online, social media, LinkedIn, and things like that, he said. Sounds good, I replied. Tomorrow I will contact my sister Sarah. She is a lawyer and will be able to advise us about the divorce process and our legal options, I said. Over the next hour we developed our plan. The bottle of whiskey gradually emptied as we devised our plan of retaliation. When Tyler left, assuring me that he would return in the morning with whatever information he could gather, a grim sense of determination replaced the earlier shock and resentment. As soon as he closed the door behind him, my phone buzzed with a message from Emily. Derek, please, can we talk? I am so sorry. I love you. I stared at the message for a long moment, my thumb hovering over the reply button. Finally, in a quick move, I deleted it and blocked her number. Returning to the living room, I noticed our wedding photo on the fireplace. Emily's smiling face looked up at me, captured in a moment of joy that now seemed deceptive. Filled with anger, I grabbed the frame and threw it across the room, enjoying the sound of it smashing against the wall. Standing among the shards of glass and the remnants of my marriage, I made a promise to myself. Emily and Bradley thought they could treat me like a fool, that they could ruin my life and get away with it without consequences. They were about to find out how wrong they were. I took out my phone and dialed Sarah's number. It was already late, but I knew she would answer. When the phone rang, I prepared myself for the upcoming conversation. This was just the beginning. By the time I'm done, Emily and Bradley will wish they had crossed me. The line connected and Sarah answered. "Derek, what's going on?" she asked worriedly. I took a deep breath, keeping my voice calm and icy. "Sarah, I need your help. Emily cheated on me and I will make her regret it," I said. There was a brief silence in the air before Sarah's voice rang out, sharp and decisive. "Tell me everything." As I began to recollect the events of that night, a cold determination filled me. The storm has arrived and it is time to let chaos reign. Emily and Bradley didn't know what was in store for them, but they would soon find out the truth, and I would show them no mercy. The morning sun filtered through the blinds, creating elongated shadows in my home office. I sat at my desk, staring at the computer screen, my fingers poised to press the keys. Next to me, Tyler held a steaming cup of strong coffee, his bloodshot eyes evidence of a night spent surfing the internet. I decided to break the painful silence. "So, what do we have?" I asked. Tyler set his mug down and leaned closer. "Bradley Turner, 45 years old. He is the head of marketing at Pinnacle Strategies. He has been married to Jennifer Turner for 15 years and they have no children. They live in the wealthy Oakwood neighborhood," Tyler said. I nodded, absorbing the information. "Good job. Anything else?" I asked. "I managed to hack Emily's social media accounts. You won't believe what I found," Tyler said, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. My jaw clenched at the mention of Emily. "Show me," I said. Tyler turned the laptop towards me, and I felt a surge of anger as I scrolled through the messages. Indecent texts, intimate photos. All this is Emily and Bradley. Judging by the timestamps, their romance lasted several months, as opposed to the weeks, Emily said. "What a liar," I muttered, clenching my fists. "What are your plans for this?" Tyler asked, his voice wary. I leaned back in my chair, a cold smile playing on my lips. "We are going to reveal the truth." "Everyone," I said. Tyler's eyes widened. "Everyone? Are you really sure about this? Once this is known, there will be no going back," Tyler said. I nodded affirmatively. "Exactly. I want the whole world to see what they did," I said. "Their families, friends, colleagues, everyone who was involved in this case." I sat down at the computer again and started setting up an anonymous social media account. While I was working, I shared the plan with Tyler. "We will make a post containing all the evidence, texts, photographs, everything. We'll tag Emily and Bradley as well as their families and places of work. We'll post the information on local community groups. By the time we're done, everyone in town will know about their affair," I said. Tyler let out a soft whistle. "It's cruel, Derek, but considering what they did to you, it's going to be hard for them," he said. I nodded, a grim look on my face. "Absolutely. Now let's organize everything. We need to be sure that this cannot be connected with us," I said. We spent the next few hours intently collecting evidence and preparing a message. As I typed, a dark feeling of satisfaction came over me. Every word was like a dagger, and every image dealt a strong blow to those who had offended me. Finally, I sat back, my finger hovering over the publish button. That's all. Once I press it, there is no going back. Tyler put his hand on my shoulder. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. I met his gaze, my expression determined. I've never felt so confident about anything. Without thinking, I pressed the button. The post hit the digital space and spread like wildfire. Within a few moments, notifications of subscriptions, comments, and messages filled with shock and anger began pouring into my inbox. "It's done," I said, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. "Now we wait," I said. Tyler nodded, a mixture of admiration and concern on his face. "What's our next step?" he asked. I stood up, stretching my tense muscles. "Now we watch their world crumble," I replied simply. "Believe me, this is just the beginning," I said. When we left the office, I felt a surge of satisfaction from revenge. Emily and Bradley thought they could play with danger without facing the consequences. They will soon realize how wrong they really were. A week has passed since the publication of the message, and the consequences were more catastrophic than I expected. I stood in the shadows across from Emily's desk and watched her walk out of the building with her head down and her shoulders slumped. The confident walk she once possessed was replaced by uncertainty. Her eyes nervously darted around, as if preparing for an ambush from any direction. As she hurried to her car, I heard quiet whispers and saw her former colleagues pointing fingers at her. "Mr. Lawson?" came a voice near me. A voice came from behind me, causing me to turn around. It was Detective Mark Evans, a local investigator who intervened when Bradley made threats. I nodded at him, keeping my face neutral. "How can I help you?" I asked. Evans looked at Emily and then looked at me. "I'd like to give you an update on Mr. Turner," he said. "He has been officially warned about threats against you. If he tries to do something else, we can take more serious action," he added. I smiled coldly and said, "Thank you, Detective." "Thanks for your help," I said. When Evans left, I turned my attention to Emily. She sat in her car with her head in her hands. For a brief moment, I felt a flicker of emotion, something akin to awareness of the chaos I had caused rather than pity. But then I remembered the look on her face when I caught her with Bradley, and all sympathy disappeared. My phone vibrated with a message from Tyler. "Bradley's wife just filed for divorce. It's all over the local news." I couldn't help but grin as I quickly typed out my answer. "Fine. How's Bradley doing?" I wrote. The answer came almost immediately. "Not good. Yesterday he was fired. Apparently his company has a strict moral policy," Tyler wrote. As I read the message, I noticed a familiar figure walking towards Emily's car. It was Bradley, looking disheveled and furious. I crept closer, staying in the shadows but close enough to hear. "Emily!" Bradley shouted, his voice hoarse. "We need to talk," he said. Emily got out of the car, desperation visible on her face. "What's there to talk about, Bradley?" Emily asked. "It's over. We're both broken. It's all because of your husband. If he hadn't," Bradley said, but Emily interrupted him. "If he hadn't what?" Emily snapped, her voice sharpening. "Wouldn't he catch us? Reveal our deception? We did this to ourselves, Bradley. We destroyed our own lives," she screamed. I saw the rage contort Bradley's expression. "No, I will not accept this. There must be a way out. We can sue him for libel," he said. Emily let out a bitter laugh. "Sue him? For what means? If you haven't noticed, we're both out of work right now, and even if we had money, everything he said is true," she said. "We are completely powerless," Emily concluded. Bradley's shoulders slumped in submission. "So this is it? We'll just give up?" asked Bradley. Emily shook her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Our old life is gone, Bradley. We have to figure out how to move on," she said quietly. As I watched them, a wave of satisfaction washed over me. This was exactly what I was aiming for. Their lives were ruined, just like mine, when I discovered their betrayal. My phone buzzed again. It was a message from my sister, Sarah. "Just finished a meeting with Emily's lawyer. She won't fight the divorce. You'll get everything." I couldn't help but smile. A wave of triumph washed over me. Emily and Bradley decided to risk my life, but they were left empty-handed, and I felt no remorse. As I started to walk away, I met Emily's gaze. We held each other's gaze for a brief moment as we crossed the parking lot. I saw hurt regret, and a silent plea for forgiveness in her eyes, but my heart remained steadfast and untouched. I turned away from Emily and Bradley, leaving them alone with the wreckage of their lives. They had made their decisions, and now they had to deal with the consequences. For me, I was ready to rebuild my life, stronger and wiser than ever. The tide had changed, and I was ready for a fresh start. The lake stretched ahead, a sparkling mirror that reflected the vast Montana sky. I sat in a small fishing boat with a fishing rod in my hands and enjoyed the quiet solitude. It's been a month since the divorce, a month dedicated to recovery and reinventing yourself. Suddenly, the sound of an approaching boat brought me out of my thoughts. Looking up, I saw Tyler steering his boat in my direction. "Have you caught anything yet?" he shouted, slowing down next to him. I shook my head, a smile playing on my lips. "No," I answered. "But that's not the most important thing, is it?" Tyler asked, and laughed, making himself more comfortable in his chair. "Fair enough," I said. "What's up, guy?" Tyler asked. I cast my line again, pondering the question. "You know what? I'm doing fine. In fact, better than fine," I replied. Tyler raised an eyebrow. "Really? Don't you regret that everything turned out this way?" he asked. I held his gaze firmly. "Nothing. They made their decisions and I made mine," I answered. So we sank into peaceful silence, and the only sound around was the quiet sound of water gently beating against the side of our boat. After a while, Tyler broke the silence. "Have you heard anything about Emily?" he asked. I shook my head. "No. As far as I know, she moved out of state. I guess she's looking for a fresh start," I said. "What about Bradley?" Tyler asked. A cold smile appeared on my face. "His wife cleaned him out in the divorce. I heard he sells door to door now," I said, laughing. Tyler let out a low whistle. "Wow," he said. "You really taught them a lesson, didn't you?" a friend asked quietly. I shrugged, reeling in the fishing line. "They messed with me first, and I just returned the favor," I said. As the sun sank below the horizon, turning the sky bright oranges and pinks, Tyler and I began packing up our things. "You know," Tyler said as we got ready to go ashore, "I have to admit, I was a little worried about you. I thought you might do something you'd regret." I paused, looking out over the calm water. "I appreciate your concern, Ty, but I was fully aware of what I was doing every step of the way," I said. Tyler nodded slowly in response. "Absolutely. I can see that clearly now." "So, what's next for Derek Lawson?" Tyler asked, smiling. I smiled, overcome by a feeling of excitement I hadn't felt in ages. Who knows what lies ahead? For the first time in a long time, I feel liberated. I can achieve anything and become whoever I want, I said. As we steered our boats back to the dock, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The storm subsided, and I emerged from it stronger. Emily and Bradley were now just pages of my past. Now their betrayal seemed like a distant memory. The future lay before me, brimming with possibilities, and I was ready to take on whatever it had in store on my terms. When we got back to shore and packed our things into the trucks, Tyler gave me a friendly pat on the shoulder. "You're a tough guy, Derek. Make sure I don't get on your bad side," he said, laughing. I chuckled. The laughter was real and uncontrollable. "Just don't sleep with my wife and everything will be fine," I said. We exchanged grins, the dark humor reflecting how I've come far. As I got into my truck, I looked back at the lake one last time. It was filled with countless memories, both joyful and painful. "See you next weekend?" Tyler shouted. I nodded and started the engine. "I wouldn't miss it for anything," I replied. On the way home, I felt a sense of completion come over me. The Emily chapter of my life had truly come to an end, but I wasn't sad about it. On the contrary, I was looking forward to the next chapter. One thing was clear. I was no longer someone's fool. From that moment on, I let my own story. Anyone who dares to challenge me will soon learn that Derek Lawson is not a man to be underestimated. The path ahead was open, and I was excited to see where it would take me. And that's the end of the story. Thank you for your valuable time. Give me your generous likes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. May the force be with you.